One of the areas a player will regularly come and ask for help with will be holding putts once they get beyond 10 feet. And this is common at all skill levels. Like, it's really hard to hold putts longer than 10 feet because the margins you're dealing with are pretty small. So on a 10-foot putt, you've got 1 degree of margin before you start to miss the hole. So 1 degree of error, and that putt's not going in. Now, you think about a straight putt. Okay, if we knew it was straight, we knew we had 1 degree, we might be able to get a fair amount of certainty with practice and good skill to be able to control that. But once we start introducing break, we now have to match the speed in perfectly, as well as reading it perfectly, as well as starting on our intended line and get the correct blend of those 3 aspects to actually allow us to hold the putt. So PGA Tour stats will tell you once you get outside 10 feet, the drop off in number of putts hold is pretty dramatic. So I think the idea with today's drill is to first of all think about kind of how we might break putts down in our mind. And I would sort of divide putts really up into 3 categories. There'd be chances to hold a putt, half chances, and then putts where we should just 2-putt and move on quietly to the next hole. So if I had to sort of define those 3 categories, I'd look firstly at your chances of putts of less than 10 feet. I think once we're operating in more than 1 degree of error available to us, we can start to be a bit more positive and a bit more confident and start to increase our expectation of holding a putt. Once we get to 10 to 20 feet, that's what I call that half chance range. They're going to look like very good shots in. You know, if you hit a 165, 170 yard shot to 15 feet, it's a really good golf shot. Doesn't mean the putts are given. And you know, you can't expect to stand there and hold lots of those putts. I think 15 feet's about 20-25% of the PGA Tour, so 1 in 4. So for the best players in the world, you know, they're missing 3/4 of the putts they hit in that range. So I think for the rest of us, managing the expectations is important, but equally try to key into some of the factors that might help performance in that area. Really important. And one of the things I always look at in that area is, can you control the speed of your golf ball? So if you think of short putting, let's say you've got a straight 4 or 5 foot putt, that's largely a test of controlling the start line, which is largely, you know, your aim and your putter face impact that deals with those factors. So if you're happy that they're okay, then this is a really nice exercise to start to layer in some other pieces of the jigsaw that might give you that opportunity to then start to make a few more putts in that range. And even if you don't make them, I think recognising in that 10 to 20 foot range that a putt that misses the hole by less than it previously may have done, well, that's actually significant improvement as well. So if you were to strike a putt that misses by 3 inches on the left, and the next one you hit lips out, neither of them have gone in, you probably 2-putt them both, but the second one's a much better putt. And on another day, it didn't need much to be much different for that ball to drop. So we're going to focus today on one of those areas, which is controlling your speed, so touch and feel, rolling the ball the exact distance you wanted, and being able to find that solution first time. So the exercise I've created here uses a couple of ghost holes, and I've got 7 or 8 golf balls back on the green there. Now, between my first two golf holes here, I've got a window of 10 feet. And then between the ghost hole here and my golf balls, I've got another 10 feet. So the game here is a very simple ladder game. The idea will be to hit the first putt from back here, and I'm going to try in this instance to roll it up just short of my hole here at 20 feet. And the idea then will be every subsequent putt after that, I'm going to try to hit less distance. So I've got a 10-foot window here, and the challenge I've set myself is to see how many balls I can roll into that window before I either leave a putt short of the first ghost hole hit, or I hit a putt further than the previous one. So my first putt, I'm going to try to hit it 19.5 feet, and then try and reduce the speed and the distance the ball travels incrementally, and see how many balls I can squeeze into that gap. So we'll get back down there to the first golf ball. I picked a reasonably flat into the green here, but you can challenge yourself by making this uphill or downhill, or pressing some variety to that. I think it's important as well. And again, this is an exercise about feel and touch. You don't want to try to be over technical. You really want to try to just cue into, okay, let's look and react. Let's trust that the work we've done on our technique has got us to a position where now we just need to extract that and hold the putt as efficiently as possible. So all on the spot there. So my aim here is just to run it down. I've picked a little bit of a footprint maybe before I've just stood actually on the green there. I sit myself in. So, yeah, right. Eyes are going to run down onto that footprint, let them settle for a second or two. And as soon as I get back to the ball, I'm going to putt, running it down there. You know, if I look at that, I've maybe hit that 18.5 feet there. So I've left a bit of space at the end there, potentially not quite got it as far as I'd like. So I've made now the box I've got to cut into shorter. You know, I've now got 8.5 feet here left, and that's obviously going to impact the putts of the roll accelerator. So, okay, second ball in, and the aim now, as we said earlier, is to try and run it in short of that first ball, because there's actually a pitch mark on the green there that's maybe just under the foot short, sort of that. My intent for where I'd like the ball to stop, and every time I look up now, that's my focus. So I don't want to settle on that pitch mark. That's the golf ball. And I'm putt down. It's about nearly a foot short of my pitch mark. So you can see that I've used half my target now into putt. So it's already thinking, okay, touch and maybe adjusting to this green speed or putting slightly downhill. These are things I need to be thinking about making sure I'm prepared for the side of the play. But I'm going to carry on the game so I can stick no balls in. Again, for a nice little kind of blemish on the green there, like this grass development. Off the stars on that. Back into there, running down there. Yeah, that's a pretty good start. That's not a million miles away from there. It's a couple of inches short, so even compared to my intent, I'm quite happy with that. And I've managed to squeeze 3 balls in there. So what have I got there? Maybe 2.5 feet left. My window. So in to pick that spot. Just got a little dark patch there, just left of that left side of the right unit, so that last bucket. Nice. Down there. Still pretty good. Okay, so I've slowed it down. Alright, so I've squeezed 4 putts in there, and it's going to have to be a pretty good fifth putt now, isn't it, to squeeze another one in. So again, it's a nice dark spot there, just over that ghost hole. And when I settle on that ghost hole again, just beyond the dark, obviously, there's a dark box in it. Too hard. Yeah, so there would be a good example. I've now hit this golf ball here further than the previous putt, so that would be the end of the game. And I would look at that and sort of track that out and say, right, okay, on this occasion, I managed to squeeze 4 putts into that zone. So at the current time, 4 putts is my personal best. Now, the aim would be for me to try and improve that over time. So I could go and repeat this exercise now if I wanted. I could potentially set it up again on a different type of putt, so slightly uphill potentially. I think the beauty again of that is if you notice a pattern that you're out playing and you really struggle with speed, downhill putts, getting too aggressive or either too cautious, this would be a great exercise to set up on your practice green back at the club, set it up deliberately on a downhill putt. And if you can become really good at layering those putts in, you know, if I set up what the perfect scenario here might look like, you know, if I can start to layer them in like this now, all of a sudden these are about 1 foot apart, these golf balls. You can see I've got 3.5 feet here. There's plenty of room left for me to squeeze a few more putts in. So ultimately I only managed 4 of those because my spread was too big. My touch wasn't good enough in this instance to get any more putts in, which is fine. You know, the first time you do this, you're just setting that benchmark for everything that comes in the future. But like I said, I think you think back to when Jordan Spieth won all those majors and tournaments in 2015-16, the thing that stood out to me was his speed from 10 to 25 feet was unbelievable. Every putt looked like it was going to go in. Every putt rolled what looked like the same distance past the golf hole. And, you know, once you can control that putter face inside 1 degree, your ability to hold those longer putts really is just feel and touch and matching your read to your pace. So having some deliberate practice in that area, I think is crucial. Because it's going to allow you to unlock one of the 3 parts of the jigsaw that you need to have in the right place to give yourself the best chances of success. So give that one a go. Like I said, don't be scared to try up or downhill or across side slopes, but the aim would be there just to, through the winter or over the course of the season, just note down somewhere on your phone or a little notepad in your golf bag what your PB was. Keep trying to beat it, you know, and if you can improve that as the year goes on, I've got no doubt at all you're going to hold more putts when you get onto the golf course. And you'll certainly be able to build a bit of deliberate practice on one of the key aspects, which is rolling the ball at the right speed.